Hi, Homeworthy. Welcome to my home in Hingham. I'm Robin. Please come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, I'm Robin Pelissier. I'm an interior designer and I'm based here in Hingham, Massachusetts. Welcome to my home. We bought our home a little less than 8 years ago. We were super attracted to this because it's an antique cape, which I love, but it's also flooded with sunlight when we looked at it. Super charming. It has that very cape, quintessential cape like front and side, and then we put on a more contemporary addition on the back. So when we bought the cape, the thing that was so charming to me was that it all felt very bright and white and light, and I really felt that at this time of my life, I work a lot with color and with mixed patterns and fabrics. I really yearned for something that felt sort of Cape Cod-ish or Nantucket-y. My husband, when he saw this house that I was interested, nearly collapsed because it was not as updated as it is now. And I would say I've kept my decorating palette fairly neutral, blues and whites and greens and a lot of solid that I think has sort of surprised people when they've come in because they're used to seeing me a little bit more rambunctious with color and pattern. But this just felt right, a little bit of antiques mixed with more modern, more contemporary for our style of living. This particular cape was built in 1801, and it's one of the original capes in this area. The name of this house is Crocker Wilder, and Crocker Wilder had two sons, Crocker and Alden, I believe, and they made bucket baskets, right across the street from us. This is back in the 1800s, maybe early 1900s. They're still collector's items even today. There's a lot of history about them, and there's a lot of value to have one of these. It's a CA bucket, and you see you see pictures of it around Hingham. Walking into like the South Shore Country Club will have a picture of the CA bucket. So those two boys were raised here in this house. Welcome to the living room. This is a room that in the winter, in the fall, in the spring gets a lot of use because of this great fireplace that came with the house. This originally was the heating source for the house, but it's such a cozy room. We entertain in here, we sit in here and hang out. It's definitely the Sunday newspaper room, and I love it because of all the light, but it's got a lot of warmth, as you can see, and it's all the fabrics that I use are indoor, outdoor. So although I do have a lot of creamy white fabrics in the home, they're really resistant to wine spills, coffee spills, things like that. They really just wipe right up. And I have a dog too, so it's really resilient to all of those things. I love sisal carpeting, and I use it a lot in clients' homes, but I love the natural texture of the sisal. We bound it in this chocolate leather to kind of ground it a little bit in this space. And this piece of art over here is by an artist by the name of Val Schaff. And she came to our shop one day and introduced herself. And when I started looking at her photography, I was completely in love. And the four sheep reminded me of my four sons. They haven't been that happy about the analogy, but this one photograph looks fantastic in every room. And I think because there's so much white and light and bright in the house, that This is such a sort of subdued, lots of browns and dark colors and sepia toned piece of art that it looks really gorgeous in every room. I just could not decide where to put that. This sort of section of the living room, which transitions between the kitchen area, dining area, and the living room, is sort of a nice pass-through, a nice little respite between these rooms. And I found this low cabinet that just is sort of seamless and helps ground this space and made for a great area to add one more vignette, a lamp. I love these from Moy Shades. We use them a lot. I love tramp art. This is not an original tramp art mirror, but it just had that feel of it, and I love the shape and the color of it. And I love little whimsical touches, like this piece that I found in an adorable little shop in downtown Hingham. So the living room just has a lot of fun elements, little places for extra seating. I can pull out benches or stools or an additional chair when people come in. Welcome to my kitchen. This is the heart of the home, literally the heart, the pulse, the soul. And this is the room where a lot of activity takes place. I love to cook. I have this great Thermidor 6-burner stove, which I love, and a lot of very solid surfaces that make this kitchen very easy to cook in and entertain in. This island top has become a stage for many, many people in my home, including my 4 sons. In fact, we have I know when the danger is about to begin when this microphone comes out, and up on the island they go. It can be 1 or 4 people. They know how to avoid the antique lanterns. So that is one really fun part of when the party starts. That's a good indication. I love the light that this kitchen has. We get it, as you can see, flanking both sides of the room. This kitchen, because there's so much white in it, I really wanted to get that balance of the dark and light and make it feel very sort of weighty and balanced, but comfortable. And we have these leather chairs. I've probably had 4 different sets of bar stools in here. I've had small Italian ones that go up and down. I have had fabric bar stools. This is all in 8 years. And I finally ended up with these leather bar stools because they're so comfortable. And because for the most part, it's my husband and I having dinner here. This is really very loungy when we sit here and take our woven chargers out and put the candles on and have the TV on. It's really it's a very warm and cozy place for the 2 of us to have dinner. Usually this kitchen has crazy, I took them down for now, but this is usually what is on every cabinet in my house. I have 3 little girl nieces. They are always coloring when they're here. It's that type of kitchen too. It's very child friendly, and they get up on the island and they always ask me where their markers are, and their artwork is a lot of the decorating in my house usually. But I love the sort of combination of the dark and the light. We carry these really cute bowls, I think they are, in our shop. And then I had a decorative artist. I didn't feel like they gave quite the dimension I was looking for. So I had a decorative painter do the little shield around them to make it look like they're actually hanging on a plaque. But I think they add a little bit of whimsy, but also a little bit of architectural interest, which I think is fun. These plates we got when we were traveling. We went to a little antique place in Italy and found these adorable plates here. I ended up my niece who lives in London loved them so much, and I had 3 that I had not unwrapped. So she went home her last trip with the 3 other plates that go with this. But I am a big plate fan. You'll see in some of the rooms, I really love using plates in my design. Even here, This is a door that goes out to the patio, and I love majolica and things that just give a room a little bit of dimension and symmetry and feels like a little bit of a collection. The thing I really love about this kitchen is for an antique cape, the ceilings are really high. They have a beautiful height. They're at least 8 feet in the original part of the cape. It's a massive vaulted ceiling, which we love. If I could do one thing differently in here, I would have maybe added some beams or clad it in wood or covered it in something, because when there are a lot of people in the kitchen, because of the girth and the height of the volume of the ceiling, it can get kind of loud in here. But other than that, we love it. When we bought this almost 8 years ago, we put this pantry in. I've had one in every house, and it's always been put to very good use. So it's great for the extra storage. We have a wine refrigerator here. And then I'm very often charging these lights that are wonderful at night. I have a lot of them, but they're great at night to put on the island and make it feel almost like you're dining in a restaurant or sitting at a bar in a restaurant. It just gives it a very special candlelit feel. The nice thing too about this room is this is all part of the space. It's all one big space. So usually my husband and I eat at the counter here, and we watch a little TV sometimes, but this is when we have small dinner parties, our family, which is large. This table just opens to accommodate 14 people very easily, because we do have the built-in banquette, and it's just a very easy room for everybody to kind of hang out. My almost 98-year-old mother comes over, and she loves this chair, the swivel chair, which are both here. This is a big hangout for me at night when I come home, get the paper, have a glass of wine, sit in my swivel chair, and hopefully my husband's cooking. I have 3 little nieces under the age of 9, and since I have 4 boys, having 3 little girls here is the delight of my life. And I'll have the table all set with napkins and 2 glasses and the salad fork and the soup spoon, and thinking that they might sit at a little table over here, but they all grab the banquette. Everybody loves to sit at the banquette, and they jump up and down and they pull at the blinds, and it's always very, very festive. And this table, which is from Design Within Reach, is a little bit more of a contemporary table than I would have probably done, but it was in my last house and I wanted to continue to use it. It's simply decorated, but it's a great palette for us to really build upon when we're doing fun things in here. Welcome into our second living room, or what I call the girls' room. And in here, I've got some more probably feminine touches, I would say, with floral, Schumacher fabric, and I love this sunny color on the walls. In the evening, when the sun is starting to set, this room glows like it's on fire. It is so gorgeous. And as you can see, I have a lot of older pieces in here that I've combined with newer pieces. This sofa we bought when we first got married and bought our first house. And it is by, I think, Louis Mittman. And it has been the best, most comfortable sofa I've ever owned. So friends of mine that have known me for that long have said, why do you still have that sofa? Why don't you get it recovered? But there's something about it that it's not just nostalgic. It really is so beautifully made that it's hard to part with. This secretary over here belonged to my mom. It's not an antique piece, but it's an old piece. And I just love the way it works in this bright room with all this upholstery. I use it to write thank you notes. And it just adds a little height, adds a little seriousness, and it's just a great piece. Sometimes we have the doors open in it, sometimes we light it from within, and I love having anything of my family's here. These two paintings, 1 and 2, and there was a third, which was orange, my husband and I bought in Paris, and the artist's name is Jackson, but we just love the colors of these pieces of work. And it just feels like a bright and happy room. Like I say, we sit in here with the girls and we pull up. Like I said, I love little extra stools. Every chair has to have a little table next to it so people aren't reaching for a drink or a book. I love that things can be easily accessible here. And people, girls and boys, I'm sure too, love sitting in this room. I love animal print in any iteration. I love it. I love it in wall covering. I love it in rugs. I love it in fabrics. So I thought, to me, there's not a room that can't use a little bit of animal print. So I just found these antique stools and thought that anytime I see a pair of something, I think, those are so good. And I buy them, whether it's at an auction or it's overseas or it's at a antique shop. If they're in a pair like this and they have a great shape to them, I love to reupholster them and have that set of 2 because I can always find a place for them in someone's home. A set of stools just can work virtually anywhere. So the animal print is really a big favorite of mine. And as you can see, this is a different animal print than the books. I found these down in Palm Beach, these books, this set of animal print binding books. And I thought, they're so fabulous. And I didn't even know if they were for sale. And she said she would sell them. But again, you can see I like adding elements of it to rooms where a client might say, does that match or does that go? And, to me, it's a neutral. It works with everything. This gold leaf clock I bought on Charles Street in Boston probably 20 years ago. Charles Street used to just be all beautiful antique shops. And I bought it there, and I remember in our first home when I started using a drill, much to my husband's dismay, he was away, and I tried to hang that in our living room, and the drill kept going through the wall, and I ended up with like a massive hole in another historic home, all in the effort to hang that clock. But we did get it hung. It did have a huge hole behind it, but it's been with me a long time, and I love the gold gilding on it. As a matter of fact, one of the girls in my office, Danielle, there were a few pieces that were a little bit cracked, and she is very masterful in doing little repair things, and she got some gold leaf paint and actually filled in where there were cracks. So that's meaningful to me too. And when I look at it, I think of Danielle and the big hole in my wall in my old house. I'm an interior designer. I've had my design firm, Pelissier Design, for over 30 years. I work with a small group of women. We do high-end residential interior design. We're mostly in New England, but we have done jobs in Florida and New York, and we have a small boutique and shop, which is where our studio is in downtown Hingham. This is our TV room, which is a little bit more staid, a little quieter. It is really where my boys, when they're home, love to hang out. We have this big screen TV. My husband loves watching anything sports on here. Particularly Patrick Mahomes did so well last night. But It's great, it's loungy. I have a lot of my mom's paintings in this room. She is a well-known painter at the tender age of almost 98. And so I love rotating her artwork in the house, depending on the season, my mood. This is an antique Harris rug that just the oranges and reds, the colors of it really add so much warmth to this room. We have a raffia wall covering on the walls. I really wanted this room to feel kind of Ralph Lauren, who I love. And so it has this beautiful antique chest and then just newer items in it. And we have this gas fireplace. I should have turned it on for you, but it's really super easy to use. When we bought this house, the brick, it was all blocked up. So we had all the brick taken out of it and then had these gas logs put in. So you can see it's just really warm and feels very cozy in the cold weather. This is a piece my husband and I bought in Provence. And actually, we need Danielle to do a little more gold leafing on it. But I love it. People think it looks like me, but I'm very insulted when they say that. But I love the feeling of it and the antiquity of it. These window covering, I love this fabric. It's a little bit old world to me, but it's still kind of got the Americana red, white, and blue in it, which I love. They are from Schumacher. We use a lot of their fabrics, and I love them. We use the shutters a lot too. All these windows in the men's room that the ladies are have these great antique shutters that were with the home when we bought it. So it's nice to be able to have a little versatility when it comes to using the window treatments. This chair, we didn't have this chair in the room originally, but I was up at Home Goods one afternoon and I saw this and I thought that's the perfect color green for this room. And I love the fact that it's swiveled. And I knew this corner of the room just felt like it needed a little something. So I bought it. This is my Home Goods find. And I have been very proud of it. In fact, people will come in and say, is that chair new? Or did you? I'm like, this is my Home Goods beauty. So it's really comfy. It's nice to sit by the fire. And it just fills out this room really nicely. Sconces are from Visual Comfort. It was challenging trying to get additional lighting in the house because there's really only the newer rooms have recessed. So we tried to get as much light in as possible without putting recess in the ceiling. So these are from Visual Comfort. Sometimes I have shades on them, sometimes I don't. I love the way they just fill this space out. I have a little picture of my boys when they were little here. It just makes a nice little vignette. Welcome to the mudroom. This is a room that sees a lot of activity. It's really the main entrance of the house. Even though it sits on the side, people come in the driveway, and this is the room that gets the most activity. It's great because we have these dark ceramic floors that are very forgiving. But I wanted to make it feel kind of light and bright. The shiplap on the walls is great because it takes a hit from what used to be backpacks and basketballs and lacrosse sticks. So I wanted to make this mudroom feel as elegant as possible. And I found this beautiful Bunny Williams mirror, this oriental rug that used to belong to my parents. So it really is very forgiving. It has 3 closets. So there's a lot of room to put things away in here. And we have this over here, we have this little place to sit where you can pause for a moment. I think this is a Pierre Fray fabric, but you can sit and pause and remove your boots. We have a little piece of art over the bench that I found in Nashville at the Nashville Antique and Garden Show. And it's just, I think, a pretty welcome, and is sort of representative in a way of the rest of the house, a little bit of the new mixed in with a little bit of the old. This is our laundry room. I was determined to have a pocket door, which my builders were saying, put in a dark wood or an antique wood door, but I really liked the idea of something fresh, a white louver door. It was all I wanted. I love it. I can close it off whenever I feel like not showing the laundry room. But I'm so super proud of this room because this wallpaper is Galbraith and Paul. I just adore their papers. And then we decided to add a fun trim to it. So bought an orange grosgrain ribbon and applied it to all of the ceiling and added some nail heads to it, and it really gave it a nice little lift, I think. The cabinets are great. These were the original kitchen cabinets that we had painted and used them in the laundry room. I have a nice surface here to fold and do my thing. So it's just got a lot of charm, I think, to it. I like doing laundry in here. This across the hall from the laundry room is our powder room, which I used a Pierre Frey wallpaper in here. It's tiny, but this is the room that when people come over, this is the room that they use. And so I knew it was going to take a lot of, not abuse, but a lot of visitors. And I wanted to keep it pretty, but at the same time, be able to handle a lot of people and a lot of use. So this color I really, really loved. Nothing really quite is the same color here. It doesn't really have to match, but it works together so beautifully and picks up these gorgeous colors in the Pierre Frey paper. And then just added a great little Roman shade. Trims I love. Not too much, but just enough. This little bird print that I adore is from Mary McGuire art. I love her things. They're so sweet. And so I really, really liked her here. And that's pretty much it. We bought this when we were downsizing. We have 4 sons, my husband Warren and I, that are 30 down to 26. And we bought this just as they were all getting ready to head off to college or head into the real world. And it suited us perfectly because we have the primary bedroom on the first floor, which is wonderful. It's really a primary suite, and it can all be cut off, sort of cordoned off by French doors to the rest of the house. Welcome into my primary bedroom. The great thing about this, the thing I love is, hold on. I can shut it off. I can shut it off when it gets rambunctious on the other side. And this is great. We've each got our own primary closet. Generally, I take up half of my husband's with my things, but that's what we're supposed to do. And I love the height here. I love this lighting. It's so gorgeous. And if I'm sitting in the tub, in the primary, I can look out here, and when the closets are open, I can look all the way out, and it's really a beautiful little vestibule. And if you come in here, this is our primary bath, and it's kind of uncomplicated. I wanted to keep it simple. It's got a lot of storage, which I thought was really necessary for all the makeup that I need. And great storage for towels, great mirrored cabinets, and beautiful shower, its own little loo. And it's got great lighting. And if you follow me this way, this is the primary bedroom. And I have a lot of restoration hardware pieces in here. I really love them. I sort of bought these pieces for this house particularly because I felt like this room, because of the largesse of the ceiling, really could stand a four-poster bed. And so we have this. We have a big TV over here, which if there's a game on and my husband is all the way across the other side of the house watching a game, I come in here and watch Netflix. And it's just a great hangout space. These the four pieces of furniture are restoration, like I said. They really live so easily. They always look good, and I don't have to rack my brain to come up with a whole new scheme for my bedroom. And I've mixed a little old and new in here, as you can see. A lot of light and dark. You'll see a lot of that throughout the house. This is a vinyl wall covering. I didn't want to go with the raffia like in the front room, mainly because I needed so much of it, and also it's so impervious to wet, dry, stains, anything like that. We brought this chandelier from our much old, 30 years ago home. We had bought this up in Essex, Mass, and it's traveled with us to every home. It's mostly been in dining rooms, but I thought, how fabulous to have them have this in our primary bedroom. It just added a little glitz that I thought was so kind of essential with the casualness of the other pieces in the room. When I first got into the interior design business, I had lived in New York. I worked in the fashion industry, and I met and married my husband, moved here, and after a year or two, I was invited to do a junior league show house, my first of many, and I worked with an upholsterer in Boston, Kevin McLaughlin. I have to give him a shout out because he is masterful, and he made these chairs for me. This is the second upholstery go around with him, and they originally, when I had these done for the show house, and I'll show you, I have pictures of them monogrammed. He had somebody hand monogram our initials right in here in a chocolate, and they were gorgeous. And people begged me not to have them removed, but I did, and just had another, and they were in orange at the time, and I just put another orange, comfy fabric. These chairs get very well used. My dog, I always say, you here, me here, and it gets some pretty sun, as you can see. Home, to me, is a place to retreat. It's my happy place. It's my place to really kick my feet up and take a deep breath. Thank you, Homeworthy. It was so fun showing you around my home in Hingham. But now you have to go. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.